Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most awesomest homesteading channel on planet Earth that typically doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with homesteading. And no, this is not a green screen. Welcome to another beautiful part of my property that you don't really see much. I'm looking for a rock to prove that it's not a green screen. Here's a stick. I don't know if you saw that or not. It went in there somewhere, but this is our pond. The cattails will grow up and block the view from here in about another 6 weeks. So this time of year in the spring, I love to sit down here, watch the sunrise over the pond in the morning, have a cold one in the afternoon once I'm done with my work. And we have some ducks nesting back here this year, wild ducks. We have an otter in there. We have a snapping turtle this big, and no, they won't eat all the fish because my son catches bluegills like this out of there regularly. We have bass as long as your arm, catfish as long as your leg. Have a lot of fun here. I'm going to talk to you today about something that has kind of been on my mind a lot lately. I'll tell you, it's when you're the sane one who lives in a crazy world, you're usually the one that's considered insane. What is it that they say? In the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king, but the man with two eyes is batshit crazy. Well, that's me. So I'm going to talk to you about some of that stuff, and it'll probably make you think, oh my gosh, that actually makes sense. Maybe he's not the crazy one, maybe we are. But my point is not to be right and to prove you wrong. It's to maybe give you some help. And this is in regard mostly to time management, productivity, and success in life, okay? Being able to have enough free time to where you can go sit by your pond or a friend's pond, or just go out in the woods and sit on the lake, or if you're a beach goer, have more time to just go hang out at the beach. And with that said, I'm going to point out that today's video is being sponsored again by, guess who, Beaver. What product? Well, it's their, see that, Beaver 45 quart ice chest cooler with wheels and a handle. Watch this. I hope that I've got enough room here to show you. Look at that. Wow, it even sounds like it has an engine. Listen. Yeah. All right, so again, it's 45 quart capacity. Got a couple of drink holders here. The latches are very solid. You open right up, and then voila. Look at that. You can fit a lot of cold ones in there. A lot of cold ones, a lot of snacks. It's got the little drain plug. You can see it down there in the corner. So once your ice melts, or it starts to melt, just unscrew this and pour out the excess. See that? Pour out the excess and put more in if you need to. And then, aside from keeping your cold ones cold, I think I just swallowed a gnat. It makes for an excellent sitting bench. So take it with you to the beach or down to your pond. So anyway, I will put the link for this product in the description box below. As of this recording, it's roughly $90-ish. Beaver claims that they make tough tools at half the price. They've been sponsoring us for about 6 years, and I have found that to be true. There's not a single product that Beaver has ever sent us to do a demo video on that is not still in use, because it is. They're all still working all these years later. And as you can see here, the gnats have found me. So if I end up picking the phone up and walking and talking, forgive me for that if these things come around too much. Go back to hell with the mosquitoes where you belong, gnats. That's the only bad part of spring. That and the pollen's not so pleasant either. So anyway, listen. How do you do it all? How do you get it all done? Well, it starts by accepting reality, and the reality is that you can't. Nobody can get it all done. What's it? Well, it's all this stuff we fill our time with, we fill our days with. And it seems like middle class, upper middle class, educated types do this more than anybody, and they should really know better, but it seems like they don't. They will put a million things on their plate and then try to excel at all of it, but they don't excel at any of it, and they only complete part of it. biting off more than you can chew, as it were. Listen, it's better to pick one or two things that you want to do that can lead to success for your life, success for your family, to allow you to be able to take care of your family, live the life you want, and do those one or two things really, really well, rather than to say, I'm going to do all 20 of these things and then not do any of them well, not complete most of them, and then always be exhausted, running ragged. And in my case, when I get caught up in doing that, I have a nonstop anxiety attack, because I have an anxiety disorder associated with my PTSD from the war in Iraq. And one of the things I've found that I can do to live with that ism is to make sure I'm not overextending myself. I'm not taking on too many projects. I'm not saying yes to too many people's requests. Being able to say no is a very powerful tool, so that when people come to you and are constantly like, hey, can you help me with this? Or, hey, would you get involved with this? This group needs a leader. You got to be able to say no sometimes, because you've got to take care of yourself first. And time management, of course, and you get a lot of people sleep away half their day. Or, get this, just a little sidebar story here. I was last weekend, 2 weekends ago, my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and I were in town, and they were having this big festival. We didn't even know about it. It just happened to be going on, so it was great. We ended up hanging out 5 or 6 hours, and I ran into an older gentleman that my wife and I both know, but we haven't seen in years, and we're just talking, and he says to me, he goes, so what are you doing now? Because the last time I saw this guy, I was actually a mail carrier in Central Virginia, and I was delivering this guy's packages for him on Sundays, Amazon delivery. And of course, I already knew him before that. I just never really knew where he lived. That's how I found out where he lived. So he says to me, so what are you doing now? Because it's been 7 years. And I says, well, I'm still writing, and but I base mostly social media. I work in social media. I create social media content. That's my bread and butter. That's how I support my family. He goes, oh, so you're to blame. I said, I'm to blame for what? He goes, all these people, all they do is spend all day online. You see them walking around with their phones. He says, you think they're texting somebody, but they're not. They're looking at stupid stuff on Facebook, reading all those stupid dad jokes and watching stupid videos or whatever. People are spending, hours and hours a day on that stuff. They've disconnected from their friends. They've disconnected from their families. They're at work, letting the phone ring, missing calls because they're just scrolling stupid stuff on social media, and it's all your fault. And I said, none of that's my fault. He goes, well, you make that stuff, so it must be. I said, no, listen. I said, it's not my fault that 97% of the population do not know how to manage their time effectively. I said, there's about 3% of us that create the content for social media. We put it out there, and then the other 97% of the population makes the choice to piss away way too much time of their day scrolling, watching it. He's like, well, isn't that partly your fault? And I said, no, absolutely not. It's personal responsibility. And I know that sounds conservative and old-fashioned and blah, 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 but I had a similar conversation about 2 years ago at the gym we go to. Some lieutenant colonel from the Army who was getting his PhD from UVA was giving me the same ruckus about stuff. And I said to him, I said, hey, and this is true, I like Mercedes-Benzes. Potentially getting one soon for my wife. Knock on wood. She's finally getting her driver's license. I've told her for years, honey, get your driver's license. I'll buy you a brand new Mercedes-Benz. So we're that close, all right? So anyway, I said to the guy, you like Mercedes-Benzes? He goes, yeah, they're nice cars. I said, okay, they make great engines, right? That German engineering, they make really efficient engines. He goes, yeah, those are wonderful cars. Because this guy, again, was saying that people like me are to blame because so many people will spend so much time a day doing this on their phone. I said, okay, so if I were to go out and get one of those beautiful Mercedes-Benzes, and I were to go into town, show it to my friends, and, we end up having some cold ones, and we're hanging out at the clubs or the bars, and I just get crap-faced drunk, and I drive home that night, and I say, hey, this is a Benz. So I start going 100 miles an hour on my old windy country road, where you shouldn't be doing 40, really, and I hit a tree, and I die. Is that the engineer's fault who created that engine? Well, that lieutenant colonel working on his PhD from the university laughed and he said, of course not. You cannot even make a comparison. I said, well, why can't you? It's the same damn thing. The engine of the Mercedes-Benz, the iPhone, the hammer, the firearm, they're all inanimate objects. They're tools, if you will. Cars get us from point A to point B. Hammers drive nails. Firearms put food on our table. The phone, we use it to stay connected with the world. I use it for my banking, my brokerage business. I've spent years overseas at a time and did all that stuff over the internet with a phone or a laptop. It's how we choose to use those tools, okay, is what makes the difference. And I said this to the older gentleman I met. I said, and listen, this is true, because you know how your phone will give you your screen time? I average 2 hours a day of screen time. That's it. Now, at first, that sounds like a lot, but you got to remember, I've got about 1.5 million followers on social media. 360 some thousand here. We've got 1.1, closing in on 1.2 million on our Facebook page, Sick Twisted Humor. Got the Homesteading Off the Grid Facebook page. We're on Instagram. I do Amazon affiliate marketing, self-publishing of books, sponsor multiple companies such as Viver, CC, some others. Yet I spend 2 hours a day on my phone. Now, why is that? I mean, most people will scroll for looking at stuff I create and put online. They'll spend 2 hours on there before they realize 2 hours is gone. Well, it's because I value my time. I understand the value of my time, and I guard my time. And I understand what's important to me, my priorities as well. And it's not my work, believe it or not. What, 1.5 million people, and you living out there, living a dream, and you got to be bringing in some pretty good money there. Well, the IRS sure does think so every year when they tell me how much I own from the year before. I guess that's probably a true statement. But listen, it's called discipline. And it's understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. Okay? Now, if I bite off more than I can chew, and I take on 10 different projects, and this is keeping me on my phone 10 hours a day, man, I'm super busy. But at the end of the day, let's tally it up. What did I actually produce? Did I create content that generated attractive revenues? Or was I just looking at stupid stuff? Or was I going back and forth communicating with, what do you call those when groups of people get together? Committees? You know, for every person you add to a committee or add to a group, you lose efficiency. You just added like another hour to the meeting. No. One of the things I love most about social media is I don't have to work with other people. Other people, they waste my time. And if you're wasting my time, you're wasting my money. Okay? I know there are certain things I need to do, certain activities, such as scheduling 34 reels a day on my Facebook page, Sick Twisted Humor. I post a reel every 30 minutes from 7 a.m. until 11:30 p.m. It's 34, I believe it comes out to 34 reels, okay? Beautiful video backdrop like my pond or some other part of my property. Something funny, something silly, like just one, because I'm done for the day. I mean, it's 9:36 a.m. and other than making this video, I'm going to make this video and upload it, I am completely done with my work for today. And I will earn more money today than half the American population earns in a month. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to show you the power behind understanding the difference between being productive and being busy, and choosing to use your time wisely and being productive. Okay? Before 8 a.m., before I was making my beautiful bride dearly, aka Giggly Girls, coffee to serve her in bed, I was finished with those 34 social media, Facebook, Reels postings. Because I know, hey, we can lay in bed and enjoy our dreams, or we can jump out of bed and go out and pursue them and make them happen. So I'm typically an early riser. I'll adjust my time a little bit as the weather gets hotter, because what I'm going to do after this is my son and I are going to go to the gym where we're going to work out. Today's leg day. We're going to run 3 miles and we're going to lift weights with our legs. Later in the year, I'll be doing those runs earlier, beating the heat, and I'll be doing my scheduling of my reels later. But here's what I do. Listen, when I'm working, I know it takes me 2 hours to do what I just told you. An hour and a half to 2 hours. And I'll throw a YouTube video in there 3 or 4 days a week now, it seems. And that's my 2 hours a day of screen time. The rest of the day, nope. But when I'm working, when I'm scheduling my reels, number one, I do not check my text messages. I do not check my text messages. I do not check my emails. I do not read news. I don't watch YouTube videos. Now, often I'll have some sort of easy listening, peaceful music playing in the background on YouTube to kind of keep me calm. But listen, and this is advice I got from people who went before me, other successful business people. And they told me, because I used to do that. I said, well, I got to do this work, but let me check these emails. Oh, so-and-so emailed me. Well, I better email them back. Oh, that company that's supposed to come fix this emailed me. Well, I better email them back. That's important. Oh, look at that. My old buddy from high school texted. Well, oh, that's funny. Oh my gosh. I got to text him back and let him know what I think about that. Oh, look, my buddy from down the road. Well, I better text him back and let him. Next thing you know, there's 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours gone where I was certainly busy, but I wasn't productive at all. How much revenue did I generate during that 2 to 3 hours of reading and replying to emails, reading and replying to text messages, watching some stupid video on YouTube about whatever, maybe looking for stuff on Amazon that I need to, oh no, we're out of, powdered Gatorade packages. Oh, well, maybe I need this. Going down rabbit holes. Okay, 0 revenues produced by going down rabbit holes. Certainly busy. That's how most people spend their days. I've talked about this before. I was in a coffee shop just a couple of years ago, and I don't like going into those places. But I was in there waiting on my car to be detailed right down the road. And it was also a bookstore. So I got a book, and I'm reading a book. And I'm just going to call her a yuppie. Some yuppie comes in. She's 40-ish, attractive woman. She throws her stuff down on the table with her coffee. She gets on this conference call on her gadget. It's like the whole store could hear. I wasn't eavesdropping. She was typical middle class, upper middle class, educated yuppie type that are a dime a dozen all over my community of Charlottesville. Turns out she was talking to her life coach. And she's going on and on about, I get up, I cut up the vegetables and I put them on the counter for the kids to eat because, by God, gluten is not allowed in our house. And then I get my yoga mat out and I race to the gym after dropping this kid off, and I make my husband take this kid over to this place, and I do my Pilates and I do my yoga or whatever. Somebody commented once on this channel that they used to live in Charlottesville and they call it Yogaville because of all the women that do yoga here. But anyway, she's going on and on about her day. Went to this club, this church group that meets at lunch, and just all this stuff. And then she says, she says, and at the end of the day, I just say to myself, gosh, I feel like such a lazy bum. I just feel like there's so much more I could be doing. I got anxiety so bad overhearing that, I got up and left and waited outside down the road for my car to get done. But folks, that is an example of how most people live. That woman, and again, I wasn't eavesdropping, I just happened to hear it. I'm listening to what she did throughout her day. She got nothing done. I mean, she was busy, but as far as being productive and doing anything of substance, and as far as like the activities with the children, it mostly involved taking them somewhere else and dropping them off and hoping you're not too late when you get there to pick them up. Folks, that is insane. Understand the difference between being busy, which is what she was, and which is what so many of us have a tendency to get caught up in being when let's check the emails first. Well, let's see who texts and see if we text our buddies back. Wait, I got to buy that thing on Amazon, and while I'm here, I may as well check the price of this, that, and the other. 2 to 3 hours. Gone. 0 revenues generated from whatever it is that you do to generate revenues. Yeah, you were busy, but you were 0% productive. Okay, until you understand the difference and until you act accordingly, you're going to be chasing your tail through life, wondering why you're not getting caught up, you're not getting ahead, you're continuing to fall further behind, you're exhausted. It's because you're too busy being busy and you're spending next to no time being productive. Okay, now I'm going to try to wrap this up. I've been yapping for 20 minutes. We got to get down to the gym because I got a workout to do with my son, you know. When I was a stockbroker, and I did that for 8 years, and that's where I learned a lot of this stuff. People that were trying to help me become a better business person. This guy said to me, tell me about your day. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And I'm going to give you the short version. It came down to this. When I was a financial planner, a stockbroker, I got paid for one thing. I earned commissions. There was only one way in which I could earn revenues, and that was to place a transaction, either buy or sell an investment inside of my customers' accounts. I didn't get paid to do paperwork. If there were new account forms that had to be filled out, because, man, this was back in the 1900s when I started, and then I finished shortly after 9/11 because that pissed me off. They came over and knocked down our buildings, and I left Wall Street to go join the Army and go over there and have my say in how I felt about that, okay? But I didn't get paid to fill out paperwork. I didn't get paid to stuff envelopes and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Old Person, because that's who I dealt with. Why? Because that's where the money was. Same reason Jesse James robbed banks. It's where the money was. Young people don't have any money. They got debt. They got car payments, trying to figure out how to pay their kids college, always buying their stuff, their boats, all this stuff they don't need, making minimum credit card payments. You know, so older people had the money. The houses were paid off. Previous generations weren't as stupid with money as these newer generations are anyway. If they knew the difference between a need and a want. There's a big one right there. Other than just understanding the difference between being busy and being productive, understanding the difference between a need and a want. So many people chasing their tails around life, trying to make ends meet, when they realize half the crap they got they don't need. Get rid of half the crap, you get rid of half the payments. There's half your time back. And when you learn how to be productive rather than busy, there's 95% of your time back. I swear on the life of this tree right here that I planted, I work 2 hours a day and that's it. That is it. And the rest of the time, I do what's important. I spend time with my wife. I spend time with our son. We go fishing. I coach youth sports. I spend time with friends of mine and we go fishing and coach youth sports. My family and I love to travel. I read a lot, 10 books a month. I write a couple of years well. And it's amazing what you can do when you understand the difference between being busy and being productive. You choose only to be productive. Here's another one for you. We have a locked gate at the end of the driveway. I don't like people just coming up and disturbing me. And I'll meet people around here, or I'll meet people in town. I tell them where I live, and they say, oh, I know so-and-so. Do you know so-and-so? They live out there. I'm like, nope. Do you know so? I say, nope. And they look at me like I'm weird. And I tell them, listen, I intentionally go out of my way not to know my neighbors and not to have any relationship with my neighbors. Now, we do have a couple that we do know, we like, and we have relationships with them, okay? But we also have boundaries. These, like myself, these people also work for themselves. So they understand the value of their time, and they've got this figured out as well. They understand the difference between being busy and being productive. So they know, and they don't do this. You see me out here in my field, 9 out of 10 times, I'm probably, like right here, right now, okay? So if you're just some schmuck, some yuppie schmuck that has a job and you don't understand the concept of running your own business and working for yourself, and you were to go by and see me, you'd pull up that driveway and try to talk to me. I know it because it's happened so many times. That's why I have the daggone gate and all the no trespassing, keep out signs. I'm not paranoid. I'm not afraid people are going to rob me. Hey, if they take something I got, clearly they need it more than I do. No, it's because I value my time, and I'm not going to let you rob me of my time because that's the most precious resource any of us have. I want to be left alone so I can get my work done like I'm doing now, so I can spend the rest of my time where it matters, with my family, doing the things I love, doing the things I enjoy. Not being like all these 97% of society that work 40 to some of them 80 hours a week and can not only never get ahead, they never get caught up because they're doing it wrong. 40 to 80%, okay, 40 to 80, probably 80% of those 40 to 80 hours are being wasted, being busy, not being productive. Being disturbed because somebody walks by your office down there at the workplace, say, oh, Joe, hey, how was the game this weekend? Next thing you know, you're pissing away 20 minutes of your time talking about the game this past weekend. You got to stop that, man. You got to guard your time like it's the gold in Fort Knox, because it is. Understand the difference between being busy, being productive. Choose to be productive. Guard your time so solidly that you put a gate up on your driveway to keep people out, and let everybody think you're just some crazy hermit type because you don't want people cut. It's not because I'm not friendly. I'm very friendly. Am I neighborly? No. I didn't buy this property or choose to live here because of anybody that's living out here. I don't even want to know about them, okay? I want them to leave me the hell alone so I can do the work I need to do, so I can then spend my time, that precious golden resource, doing the things that matter in life. And let me tell you, when we're on our deathbed, none of us are going to look back and say, I wish I'd have spent more time down at the office. No. And when I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to be looking back on those golden memories of spending time on the water, fishing with my son and with my wife, coaching his sports teams, being at every game, being at every practice, never being late. Because that's what matters. Not being busy, not trying to impress other people, not volunteering for their committees at their whatever group they're into to make themselves look good in the eyes of the public. That's fakery. F that. F fakery. All right, I hope you guys all got something out of this. I'm going to take my little Beaver cooler. Again, the link is going to be in the description box below. 45 quarts, roughly $90 as of this video recording. That's enough social media for all of you today. Turn off your phone and go outside and live. See you for more next time.